A mysterious ancient ruin is excavated, unexpectedly unleashing a catastrophic event. A blood-red mist spreads rapidly through cities, causing chaos and mass death. People exposed to the mist mutate into monstrous forms and die violently. The city becomes a devastated wasteland filled with destruction, corpses, and rising dark creatures emerging from the mist. One of these enormous red monsters appears, towering over a lone human standing in the middle of a ruined city street. Stating that wherever these aberrant beasts went, cities fell into ruin, emphasizing the devastation and destruction they caused. Showing the overwhelming power of these monstrous beings and the chaos they bring to the world. Ferocious aberrant beasts are attacking a city, leaping through the streets and terrifying the people. The narration says, fear spread like a plague, emphasizing how panic and despair overtook humanity. In response, military aircraft launch missiles at the monsters, leading to massive explosions that rock the city. Despite the powerful counterattack, the devastation suggests that the situation is dire and humanity is struggling to fight back. A young man runs desperately through the ruins while missiles streak across the sky and explosions shake the ground. Surrounded by monstrous beasts with glowing red eyes, the character shouts, "Shwe," searching frantically for someone. As the monsters roar and close in, the person cries out again, "Where are you, Shwe?" Showing both panic and determination amid the chaos. He unleashes a powerful and violent counterattack against the monstrous beasts. Blades or energy slashes made of red, glowing power cut through multiple enemies, tearing them apart in a blur of motion. Amid the chaos, the hero's arm transforms, becoming dark red and clawed, radiating raw, destructive energy. This marks a dramatic shift. The character is no longer just defending but awakening a terrifying power within themselves. He with a demonic, red-clawed arm, searches desperately through the destroyed city, calling out, "Shwe," repeatedly. He finally spots something, a small figure or doll lying amidst the rubble, and rushes toward it. Kneeling beside it, he calls, "Shwe," again with anguish and sorrow, suggesting he may have finally found the person, or what's left of them, he's been searching for. Depicts a moment of devastation and grief. Amid a ruined cityscape filled with smoke and destruction, a man kneels beside a lifeless or unconscious figure with blood and wounds. He sorrowfully calls out, "Shwe," before shouting in anguish, "Where are you?" The imagery conveys loss, desperation, and the aftermath of a violent event or battle. The scene flashes back to 3 days earlier. A red mist begins spreading across multiple areas, with officials calling it a natural phenomenon and urging people to stay home. Traffic clogs the streets as panic rises. Soldiers suddenly appear, shouting orders for civilians to move their cars immediately. A man inside a vehicle watches tensely, realizing the army has been deployed. Distrust grows as someone remarks that politicians can't be believed, hinting that the situation is far more serious than the government admits. As the family drives through the chaos, the brother tries to comfort his frightened sister while their father insists the red mist is just a natural disaster. Suddenly, strange red energy surges through the sky, alarming both soldiers and civilians. The soldiers are confused and on edge, questioning what the mist really is. Without warning, an explosion erupts nearby, shaking the car and leaving the family in shock as they realize something far more dangerous is unfolding. An explosion rocks the area, and debris crashes down around the family's car. The brother shields his sister as the vehicle is struck and thrown off balance. After the impact, he quickly checks on his parents, shouting in panic to see if they're okay. His father is conscious but trapped, his leg pinned, while the sister, disoriented, struggles to understand what just happened amid the wreckage. They suddenly notice something horrifying approaching. One of the characters, with blood on his face, turns in shock, while another looks on in fear. A monstrous creature appears, towering over the city and attacking, causing people to panic and flee for their lives. Amid the chaos, someone shouts for others to get out of the car as the monster draws near, wreaking destruction everywhere it goes. He rushes to help his parents trapped inside a damaged car. Despite the danger, he tries to pull them out while telling others to grab their belongings and escape. A sister screams for help as the monstrous creature continues rampaging nearby. He shouts for her to run while he stays behind to rescue those still trapped. An injured parent inside the car tells the son to be a man and take responsibility, and pleads with him to take care of Shui. A massive explosion strikes nearby, shaking the ground and sending debris flying. The monstrous creature, an enormous beast with glowing red eyes, emerges from the blast, roaring furiously. The brother shields the sister as they barely escape the impact. Realizing what happened, the sister cries out in horror, calling for her mom and dad, who were caught in the explosion. The monster looms over the destruction, its gaze fixed on them, radiating deadly intent. The monstrous creature charges toward the two survivors through the smoke and debris. The brother pulls the sister to her feet, shouting for her to run while desperately calling out for her lost parents. As they flee, a massive winged beast descends from the sky, screeching and unleashing destruction across the city. The creature attacks with explosive power, engulfing buildings in fiery blasts and spreading chaos even further. As destruction engulfs the city, the brother and the sister race down a shattered highway while chaos erupts around them. The monstrous beasts and even the people themselves seem to have lost control, attacking wildly and turning savage. He realizes in horror that both animals and humans are going insane, consumed by some unknown force. He struggles to comprehend the nightmare unfolding around them, shouting in desperation, "What the hell is going on?" The beast roaring and exuding a menacing red aura. He appears calm and composed despite the danger. He quietly says, "Sigh," showing a mix of exhaustion or resignation rather than fear. He's staring at the monster with determination, preparing for what seems to be a decisive moment or battle. Brother and a sister sit together after the battle, relieved as the danger seems to have passed. She says, "It's gone," suggesting the threat has disappeared. Suddenly, the sister grabs her head in pain, her expression turning pain and almost panicked. He becomes alarmed, asking what's wrong. He holds her. She tells him she feels really sick, clearly in agony. He's shocked and worried face as he realizes something terrible is happening to her. He worries she might be reacting to something she absorbed earlier. He quickly grabs a water bottle, hoping to help her recover. As he gives her the water, he starts to feel a strange reaction within himself. His veins glow red, and he's suddenly overwhelmed by a surge of power or energy. Red energy erupts violently from his body, and he realizes in shock that something uncontrollable is pouring out of him. The sister Shui, frightened, calls out to her brother, asking what's wrong with him. He insists he's fine, but his body is clearly being overtaken by dark red energy. Shui pleads for him to stop as his power violently flares. Meanwhile, the monstrous wolf that was defeated earlier begins to stir, seemingly reacting to his energy. As the red aura spreads through the area, Shui cries out that he's scaring her, terrified of what he's becoming. The monstrous wolf reappears, its eyes glowing red and its presence terrifying. The brother and the sister realize they've been discovered, the creature has found them again. Without hesitation, he grabs her hand and yells for her to run. The beast charges at them with immense fury as they sprint toward the exit. They escaping through the supermarket doors as the monster's roar echoes behind them. A monstrous creature with wings appears, roaring furiously as it dives toward the siblings. The siblings try to flee down the stairs but are quickly cornered. He realizes another monster is coming, making escape seem impossible. She clings to him, asking what they should do. He gently reassures her, embracing her tightly and saying, "Don't be afraid. Your brother's here." A massive, winged demon-like creature unleashes a terrifying roar and attacks with overwhelming power. The monster tears through the battlefield, destroying everything in its path and overpowering other beasts. Amid the chaos, he holds his sister protectively in his arms. She looks up at him, terrified, and quietly asks if they're really going to die there today. He stays calm but serious, his expression filled with determination despite the hopeless odds. The young man and his sister running, the brother urging, "Come on, let's go back." The sister hesitates, but he insists it's too dangerous outside and they must return to safety. Just then, a monstrous wolf appears and blocks their path, growling menacingly. The brother immediately steps forward to protect her, shouting in defiance as he prepares to fight. The monstrous wolf lunges at him with incredible speed and power. He struggles to defend himself, barely dodging the creature's massive jaws. Realizing the danger, he mutters, "This is bad," as the beast continues its relentless assault. The wolf roars and attacks again, forcing him into a close, desperate clash. Then he grabbing the monster's head, locked in a fierce struggle for survival. Shue sees her brother struggling against the monster and rushes to help him. She shouts that she'll assist, but her brother immediately yells for her to stay back. The monstrous wolf turns its attention toward her, eyes glowing red with fury. The brother desperately shouts, "Run," as the beast prepares to attack her instead. As Shue runs away, he warns her not to look back while the monster charges after her. The brother, severely wounded and bleeding, struggles to stay on his feet. Coughing up blood, he forces himself to keep fighting despite his injuries. Determined, he vows not to run anymore, showing his resolve to protect his sister. Meanwhile, the monstrous wolf charges toward the fleeing girl, knocking her to the ground. As she screams in fear, the brother shouts her name and slams his hand into the wall, ready to make a last stand. As the ground erupts in a blast of red energy, his sister watches in shock. Consumed by rage and determination, his eyes glow red and his aura flares violently. With a powerful roar, he charges at the beast, repeatedly striking it while shouting, "Die! Die!" His attacks are relentless and filled with fury, showing a complete transformation from desperation to vengeance. The brother loses control, consumed by rage and bloodlust, shouting, "Kill! Kill! Go to hell," as he brutally attacks. Shue, horrified, calls out to him and tries to stop him. She grabs him, pleading for him to stop, insisting she's fine and begging him to regain himself. Despite her efforts, his rage seems overwhelming. Another person nearby urgently tells them to leave quickly, sensing the danger from his uncontrollable power. Flashes back to a touching memory of the siblings' parents, who tell the brother to take responsibility as the eldest and to protect his sister so they can live in peace. Back in the present, the sister desperately calls out to her brother, trying to bring him back to reality as he loses control. Her voice breaks through his rage. He finally regains some awareness, softly saying her name, Shue, showing that he's beginning to return to his senses. The sister tearfully calls out to her brother, who finally regains control of himself and apologizes for making her worry. She asks if he's alright, and he reassures her with a gentle smile, but before he can finish his sentence, a massive shadow looms behind him, revealing that the monstrous threat still isn't over. A monstrous beast suddenly attacks again, catching them off guard. The sister is in immediate danger, but the brother rushes to protect her, shouting in defiance. Fueled by determination, he strikes back fiercely at the creature, calling it an ugly bird as he swings his weapon with full force. The brother, filled with rage and determination, fiercely defends his sister. He shouts, "Get away from my sister," and unleashes a powerful attack that sends shockwaves through the area. His strike lands with explosive force as he roars, "Go away," pushing back the monstrous enemy with sheer strength and emotion. After driving the monster back, the brother tells his sister, Shue, to stay put while he goes to deal with the remaining creatures. Shue protests, worried for his safety, but he explains that the beasts are targeting them and he needs to lure them away. Though she pleads with him not to go, he reassures her that he won't lose control this time, showing determination and calm resolve before heading into danger. The brother embraces his sister and tells her to wait for him, assuring her he'll return soon. She makes him promise to come back safe and sound, and he smiles, vowing that he will definitely return to get her. With determination in his eyes, he heads toward the battle, entering a dark, smoke-filled area where the danger awaits. He walks through the smoke, realizing that defeating monsters and absorbing their blood or bodies can make him stronger. Facing a massive, intimidating demon, he resolves that by killing it, he'll gain the power needed to protect his family. Determined and fearless, he declares that the monster will die by his hands today. He faces off against a pack of wolf-like monsters, confidently taunting them and refusing to back down. He fights fiercely, striking down one of the beasts with powerful sword attacks. Despite their relentless aggression, he remains determined, cursing the monsters for their stubborn persistence as he continues the intense battle. He unleashes a surge of dark power, violently slaying multiple monsters at once while shouting for all of them to die. Overwhelmed by the sensation, he marvels at the strength coursing through him, calling it amazing. His aura turns fierce and menacing, radiating red energy that shocks the remaining monsters, who now hesitate and seem wary of his terrifying new power. Confused by his sudden surge of power, wonders what just happened as red energy still engulfs his arm. Suddenly, a missile crashes into the area, creating chaos. His sister, Shue, rushes out in concern, but he yells for her to stay back as the missile explodes, causing a massive blast. After the missile explosion devastates the area, rescuers arrive at the scene. They spot survivors among the rubble and move to check on them. One of the rescuers decides to abandon the severely injured man but orders them to take the unconscious girl instead. As they hurry, they warn that the monsters could return at any moment. As the helicopter carrying Shue flies away from the destruction, a monstrous, red-armored hand reaches toward it in despair. The man left behind, consumed by rage and grief, calls out her name, Shue. Shue appears surrounded by flames, calling out to her brother with sorrow and confusion, asking why he isn't saving her. As she's engulfed by the fire, her brother screams her name in anguish and desperation, reaching out helplessly toward her. The moment ends with his devastated cry of, "No," marking a tragic and emotional loss. He wakes up abruptly from a nightmare, shaken and sweating. He curses about having the same dream again and desperately wonders where Shue is. After calming himself, he notes that it's fortunate he wasn't discovered. Reflecting on the past, he remembers the day Shue was taken away by others and how he's searched everywhere for her since, still haunted by the loss. Reflects that despite all his efforts, his sister is still missing. Determined to find her, he enlisted in the army's lowest-ranking unit, the Border Patrol, so he could move freely and gather information. In these chaotic times, only soldiers have that kind of authority. The scene shifts to the Redstone City border outpost, a heavily damaged area surrounded by red mist and destruction. At the Redstone City Patrol, the man arrives late for his shift and apologizes to his superior, Captain Jean. The captain scolds him harshly, warning that if he keeps slacking off or causes trouble, he'll regret it. As tensions rise, Jean reminds him to stay alert since reinforcements are on their way, and they'll head back once the next team arrives. 6 months ago, the Scarlet Mist appeared, turning most cities into ruins filled with mutant beasts. A mysterious structure called the Scarlet Spire emerged along with it. Humanity now survives only on the outskirts, far from the mist and spire. He's standing watch, notices something suspicious while soldiers nearby express fear. If even the elite units can't hold the line, they wonder how low-ranking patrolmen like them can survive. A special response unit discusses their captain, Rui Wei Nan, who is known for relentlessly defeating mutant beasts. Meanwhile, he reflects alone on a rooftop, noticing that the blood mist, which causes dangerous mutations, has suddenly begun to disperse. This unexpected change catches him off guard, raising new questions about what's happening. The captain senses danger approaching and realizes something powerful is charging toward them. His subordinates call out that there's an urgent situation. At first, someone dismisses it as nothing, but they quickly notice the blood mist forcing its way in, surprising them. As the mist approaches, members of the Special Response Unit arrive, signaling that the threat is real and imminent. Members of the Special Response Unit rush toward the area but are immediately overwhelmed as the blood mist surges forward with immense force. They're caught off guard and pushed back violently. Realizing the situation is out of control, one of the team members urgently orders everyone to retreat before the mist engulfs them completely. The blood mist surges forward, and a monstrous creature emerges, grabbing one of the soldiers as he screams in fear. Believing the situation is hopeless, he mutters that it's over. Meanwhile, Yahello silently observes the chaos from above. As more creatures push through the mist, the surviving soldiers panic and shout for everyone to run, realizing the monsters have arrived in full force. Yahello leaps into action, diving straight into the battlefield. As a powerful beam attack erupts, he clashes with one of the monstrous creatures. Landing with force, he swiftly overpowers and kills the beast, calmly counting it as his first kill in the encounter. Yahello, now empowered with his red, clawed arm, confronts it head-on. As the beast strikes, he counters with a fierce blow, his energy slicing through the creature's body. Amid the clash, he calmly mutters, 2, implying he's counting the number of enemies he's defeated, showing his growing strength and determination even in the face of monstrous foes. Yahello defeats a monstrous enemy and uses his red, clawed arm to absorb its energy, which flows into his body in a surge of power. He remarks, "Good. After absorbing this one, I've gotten a little stronger." Curious and confident, he wonders aloud, what will happen if I absorb a few more? As more aberrant beasts surround him, he calmly counts them, 3, 4, 5, 6, preparing to take them all on, showing both his growing strength and a dangerous hunger for more power. Now surrounded by red energy, challenges the monsters and shouts, "Don't you dare confront me." He unleashes a devastating attack, releasing a massive beam of destructive power that obliterates his enemies in an explosion of red and purple light. As the smoke clears, he senses something unusual and asks, "Who's there?" A new figure appears, a calm, silver-haired woman identified as Captain Song Rui of the Crimson Blood Dispatch Unit, observing him with a serious expression. Her sudden arrival suggests that reinforcements or a new faction have entered the scene. Realizes he's been discovered and mutters, "Crap, it's someone from the Special Response Unit." Knowing he might be in trouble, he prepares to change mode. Meanwhile, Captain Song Rui of the Crimson Blood Dispatch Unit arrives on the scene, armed and composed, commanding her team to leave none alive. Her soldiers immediately respond, "Yes, ma'am," surrounding the protagonist and aiming their weapons. The tension rises as it becomes clear that the captain and her unit see the protagonist as a potential enemy or threat, not an ally. Raises his hands and shouts, "Don't shoot. I'm a private from the patrol team, trying to convince the soldiers he's not an enemy." However, the squad ignores his plea. One of them orders, 12 o'clock. Fire immediately. They open fire, but instead of being hit, the bullets strike and kill the monstrous beasts behind him. As the dust settles, the soldiers confirm, target eliminated, seemingly unharmed, lowers his hands and takes a few steps forward. Captain Song Rui questioning him loudly, "Where's your weapon?" signaling continued suspicion toward him. They decided to retreat to the defense line to take the next step. Captain Song reported that there were 2 Crimson Blood squads and 30 patrol squads killed, which meant they suddenly lost contact with personnel, but Yahello didn't understand the meaning of the report. Then why was he tied up in this place? Captain Song was seen interrogating Yahello about the incident. He only answered that he had just finished his nap before the incident happened, but this soldier reported that Yahello was often late for duty. She assessed that the squad patrol had problems with every soldier, including the captain. It can be seen from the file information that Yahello only has a D grade in physical. This record does not correspond to the reality that at the time of the incident he was running very fast, but Yahello just replied that it was an instinctive act of fear when the red mist threat came. For Captain Song, if he was afraid in this case, he would immediately leave the patrol squad, but Yahello had another reason, namely to look for his sister. She approached Yahello and said that if his words were proven to be lies, he would be executed immediately with her rifle here. Then at the same time Captain Song asked about his hand that had changed into a monster. She knew that Yahello was hiding something, but suddenly a huge earthquake occurred outside. Without thinking twice about the incident, How immediately ran to escape from the situation, but Captain Song quickly caught him firmly. The other patrol officers asked Captain how to act calmer, but suddenly the ground collapsed, leaving them stunned. As a result, they fell underground, not knowing what was actually happening at that time. She asked the soldier to turn on the light, because this place was very dark, but Hao saw that his hands were already untied. They also started to turn on the lights, and immediately checked the conditions around the underground. Captain Song ordered the soldiers to immediately pick up the fallen weapons, to take alert action. But in that place, Hao felt a wind coming into the underground place. It turned out that there was indeed wind here, which meant that it was the way out, but suddenly a monster came out from the direction of the wind and immediately attacked. But quickly Captain Song shot the monster with a rifle, and saved the patrol officer from the threat. She knew that Hao was good at avoiding and running away from threats and problems, and she also wanted Hao to explain what he was hiding at the moment. Strange sounds emerged from various directions, making them confused. Suddenly many monsters appeared in the area. They are all surrounded by attacking monsters and danger is imminent. They must immediately do something to get out of this incident. Giant insect-like monsters attack in swarms while soldiers fight back with explosions and coordinated moves. The group advances through a dark underground area filled with enemies, creating a chaotic and action-packed atmosphere. A group of soldiers navigating a tunnel filled with danger. Captain Song leads while warning the others to keep moving. They notice that the insect monsters are behaving strangely, as if retreating or changing formation. Suddenly, they realize something alarming ahead in the tunnel, prompting tension and caution as they prepare for whatever lies before them. The group encounters a massive new enemy, a heavily armored insect called a Titan Killer. It begins absorbing the nearby red mist, growing more powerful and transforming into an even more dangerous form. Realizing the threat, Hao urgently warns everyone to stay alert. The white Captain Song then charges up a weapon infused with purple lightning energy, preparing to launch a powerful counterattack. Two powerful forces clash. Enemy unleashes a massive red energy beam, while the she counters with intense purple lightning. Their attacks collide violently, creating a surge of destructive power. Amid the chaos, a man shouts, "Get out of the way," as the red beam overpowers the lightning, suggesting one side is gaining the upper hand in the explosive confrontation. She is struck and thrown back violently by a red energy attack, leaving her shocked. Hao with the corrupted red arm stands protectively before her, telling her that if they make it out alive, he'll explain everything. Behind him looms a massive, demonic creature with glowing eyes, emanating power and menace as the confrontation intensifies. She worries, realizing that even her strongest attacks barely affect the monstrous enemy. She urges caution, but he only smirks confidently and prepares to fight. His red, demonic arm flares with energy as he faces the towering creature head-on, determined to take it down despite the overwhelming odds. His eyes glow with fierce resolve, showing he's ready to unleash his full power. The battle escalates as the monster is revealed to be of Calamity class, an extremely powerful threat. He engages it in close combat, skillfully dodging and countering its brutal attacks with his red, demonic arm. Despite the monster's overwhelming size and strength, he keeps up the fight, analyzing its movements and weaknesses. He notes that its attacks are powerful but predictable, giving him a small opening to strike back with strategy and precision. He analyzes the monster, noting its enormous size and defensive shell that makes it nearly invulnerable. As it charges with crushing force, he swiftly dodges its powerful attacks, mocking it for being too slow. Confident and composed, he taunts the beast, calling it just a moving target, showing his growing dominance and control in the battle despite the creature's terrifying strength. Hao unleashes a powerful transformation, enveloped in red and black energy. As they charge forward, another observer notes that the transformation, called extraction, enhances the user's abilities beyond their normal limits, making them far stronger. The onlookers are shocked by the sudden display of immense power. The team discusses how they're observing. One of them explains that the man is using a dangerous ability called extraction, which allows him to absorb and use energy beyond his normal limits. Another notes that they've encountered him before. He once fought off a high-level monster alone. Captain Song clarifies that this man's exact classification and capabilities are still unknown, emphasizing the need to investigate him further. The subordinates acknowledge her authority and agree to follow her lead. The monster releases a massive surge of red energy, forming a powerful, destructive blast. Hao realizes the danger and urgently warns everyone to get away. The group, including Captain Song and her team, react in shock as the attack unleashes a devastating explosion, threatening to engulf everything nearby. The monster's red energy blast detonates violently, causing massive destruction. When the dust settles, she is shown kneeling with her weapon, surrounded by crackling electricity, confirming she survived the explosion. One of soldiers, shocked and relieved, realizes he's still alive. As the smoke clears, another soldier discovers a fallen comrade and urgently calls out for the captain. A soldier from the blood squad was injured in the leg. He was confused as to why a mere patrol soldier like himself was being protected by a combat soldier. This person simply replied that he became a soldier not only to fight monsters but also to protect human. On the other hand, Hao was thrown far away by the attack, and now he had run out of energy to transform. He couldn't believe that a tyrant-class monster called the Steel Shield Spike Beetle was so difficult to defeat. The monster immediately attacked Hao with its claws, but suddenly a bullet hit the monster, so he was saved. It turns out that the attack was carried out by Song, but it seems like the bullet attack still doesn't work on the monster. Unexpectedly, it turned out that the monster absorbed the red mist that was underground so that the wound that had just healed again. Song tells Hao to retreat right now because it is impossible for them to defeat this monster, but he will not do that and will not continue attacking. He tells Song to open an attack. He planned to do a combination attack, and Song was told to do the opening attack, so she finally agreed to the plan. It looks like she is gathering energy in her rifle while aiming at the enemy, so that her attack will be strong and hit the monster accurately. Finally, a combination attack occurred. She shot a powerful purple energy bullet at the enemy. Hao was seen preparing himself for the final attack. Song's attack managed to injure the enemy, allowing Hao to charge straight into the monster's wound. With a powerful barrage of attacks he tried to injure the monster. Did their attacks really work? As a result of the repeated attacks, Hao managed to destroy the monster's head. After doing that, he fell and Song immediately approached him. He was already exhausted, and Song looked at the photo in his pocket, showing Hao holding a black crystal stone. When he fainted, he thought, why can't he control his body? And has he really turned into a monster? The DNA inside him was visible in the light, and now he could move because the crystal was embedded in his chest. Was this the crystal from the tyrant monster? How did it get embedded in his chest? He had no idea. It looks like the red mist energy is being sucked into the crystal, and also because of that, he no longer needs to run out of energy when transforming. Now all he had to do was destroy anyone in front of him and find his sister, but it seemed the incoming red mist energy was uncontrolled. The next day he was in the hospital, but here it was seen that the red mist energy had already controlled him. He tries to control the energy, but suddenly Song visits Hao there, and it is possible that something bad will happen. Song was shocked by what Hao did, and told her to get out of the way immediately. A red mist energy explosion was seen happening in the hospital.